There are 4 types of dangerous men in the world, but only one of them truly has the habits to make him any sort of threat to the status quo. So let's take a look at 3 of these dangerous men, and then let's do a deep dive into our final man to see what exactly it is that just makes him so different. The incompetent man is dangerous. Really? Yes, really. Haven't you seen that guy at work or on the job or on YouTube whose very way about doing things screams, "I'm an accident waiting to happen"? But it wouldn't be an accident, would it? The way he goes about his life, riddled as it is with carelessness and a strange, misplaced self-confidence, well, it makes him a danger to everyone. He's the reason workplace safety programs were initiated, and probably why all those weird labels and warnings often account for highly improbable and just insane decision making. Yeah, because he's done those things. The morally erratic man is dangerous. This is the guy whose framework for moral decision making is seriously lacking. There is no baseline for behavior. And because there's no baseline, stuff he'll do and definitely not do to his neighbor, well, he's just dangerous. Okay, that's an understatement. Let's be blunt. This is the stuff of serial killers. And here's something that's truly frightening. This lack of moral norms is currently being endorsed by society. I mean, it's fine for you to decide that there should be a line drawn in the sand of ethical living, but why should that be the line for everyone? But that's for another video. The skilled man is dangerous. Okay, this is the guy who at some point in your life you wanted to be. Or at least to some extent. This guy is the sharpshooter, the master of hand-to-hand combat. He can throw knives. He can build stuff out of toothpicks to save the world. Simply the guy that no one messes with. He's dangerous because he's turned himself into a weapon. And as a culture, I think, as men, we're fascinated by this guy. He turns our imagination. And so we invent story after story after story of this dangerous man righting the wrongs of the morally erratic man, saving the world, getting the girl, and just being all around super cool. But here's the thing. All 3 of these dangerous men have one odd thing in common. They're destructive elements. I mean, come on, think about it. They can tear down, but they can't build up. And because they can't, they're dangerous, but not a threat to those with real power. Why is that? Because governments at every level are not always as concerned about danger as you might think. Whether that be the widespread distribution of fentanyl, a spiraling economy, or an undefended border. What they're concerned with are those dangerous elements that can create a compelling and competing version of society. And that changes everything. This brings up an important but not very well known principle. For governments, the most dangerous element is usually not the destroyer, but the creator. Those men and women who can not only see a different way forward, but who have the means to implement it. So the question is there a dangerous man who's also a threat? Yeah, but it's not who you thought it was. The civilized man is dangerous. He's methodical, he's rational, he shows an above average level of self-control. Above all, he's put into place a series of habits that continue to make him more and more dangerous to anyone in society who would rather have things their way. Let's take a look at 4 of those habits. This dangerous man reads a lot. Why does he spend so much time on books? Why not synopses or pamphlets or headlines? Because good ideas, thoughtful insights take time to develop. Don't expect creatures of the deep to be found on the shoreline. From all this reading, the civilized man is learning what he believes and why, what is true and what is not, what he would die for, and ultimately what his life is all about. And when society or government enforces ways of living through education, law, and healthcare that he knows are contrary to the truth, well, that's not going to end very well. This dangerous man strategizes, whether through puzzles or games or sport, finances, the hunt, or politics. He's constantly testing his strategies against those of others, but not as an observer, through active participation. And this teaches him through experience that winning is not just a matter of having the right resources, though we all know that helps. But more often than not, it is a matter of the will, and that he can train. This dangerous man improves how he communicates. What we're talking about here is actually fourfold.
Yes, the civilized man has a habit of getting better in his communication with those people and relationships he considers most worthy. And yes, he's definitely interested in improving his vocabulary. And yes, he might even make it his business to learn more than one language. But what most people miss is that the civilized man is most interested in exploring and understanding communication itself. Language per se occupies some of his thoughts. And so, mathematics, music, technology, animal behavior, all of these and more become part of his linguistic playground and ultimately part of his arsenal. The dangerous man gathers with like-minded men. And here's the most dangerous habit of them all. When civilized men meet, they spend their time challenging one another's assumptions and strengthening their own positions. They exchange strategies and gain new insights, not only from how the others communicate in their presence, but they gain nerve and grow in resolve as they hear about one another's success stories.
Can you see how threatening this all is? A citizen who knows what is true has the power and the strategies in place to communicate it, a community to back him up, and the willpower to endure hardships for the sake of his goal is not simply dangerous. That would be an understatement. This dangerous man doesn't just have the power to resist revisionist and woke thinking. He has the power to rebuild civilization even after others have violently thrown it down. In other words, he's precisely the kind of dangerous man that we need.